A significant yet delicate ceasefire has taken hold between Israel and Iran, bringing a pause to a direct military conflict that threatened to ignite the entire Middle East. Announced by United States President Donald Trump from the recent NATO summit in The Hague, this truce officially began on June 25, 2025. The agreement, which was carefully negotiated with the help of Qatari mediators, aims to end a period of intense fighting that lasted for 12 consecutive days. Both nations have publicly committed to honoring the terms of the ceasefire, creating a moment of tense quiet across the region as the world watches to see if this peace will last. The diplomatic effort to secure this halt in hostilities was substantial, involving high-stakes negotiations behind the scenes. President Trump played a personal and direct role in ensuring the agreement was implemented. Reports have confirmed that he made a crucial phone call from Air Force One to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. During this call, the president urged Netanyahu to order Israeli warplanes, which were already en route for another strike on Iran, to turn back. This last-minute intervention highlights the critical role the United States played in pulling both sides back from the brink of a much larger and more devastating war. This ceasefire comes after a period of escalating threats and military actions that have kept the international community on high alert. The direct confrontation between Israel and Iran marks a dangerous new phase in their long-standing shadow war. For years, their opposition has primarily played out through proxy forces and covert operations. However, the recent conflict saw direct state-on-state military strikes, a development that many analysts had feared for a very long time. The successful implementation of the ceasefire is therefore seen as a vital step in de-escalating a situation that could have had catastrophic global consequences, both politically and economically. As the ceasefire holds, the focus now shifts to its durability and the long-term implications for regional stability. Both Israel and Iran have stated that their adherence to the truce is conditional. Each side has warned that it will respond with force if the other violates the terms of the agreement. This conditional peace leaves the region in a state of precarious balance. Diplomatic channels, particularly those facilitated by Qatar, will remain essential in managing any potential flare-ups. The international community continues to call for restraint and a return to dialogue to address the underlying issues that led to this violent outbreak in the first place. The ceasefire was necessitated by a brutal 12-day war that inflicted significant human suffering and widespread destruction. The conflict began on June 13, 2025, with a series of Israeli airstrikes targeting locations within Iran. This was followed by retaliatory missile and drone attacks launched by Iran against targets inside Israel. The fighting quickly intensified, with both sides launching wave after wave of attacks. This direct military exchange represented a severe escalation of tensions, moving beyond the proxy conflicts that have traditionally defined the rivalry between the two nations, and bringing them into open warfare for the first time in their history. The human cost of this short but intense war has been tragically high, particularly in Iran. According to official reports from health authorities, the Israeli strikes resulted in the deaths of at least 610 people inside Iran. This devastating figure includes 13 children who were caught in the crossfire of this large-scale military operation. In addition to the fatalities, the attacks left an estimated 3,056 people wounded, overwhelming local hospitals and emergency services. These numbers paint a grim picture of the widespread impact the conflict had on civilian populations who bore the brunt of the aerial bombardments. On the other side of the conflict, Israel also experienced casualties from the Iranian response. Iranian missile and drone strikes managed to penetrate Israeli air defenses, resulting in the deaths of at least 28 people. These attacks caused panic and disruption across the country, as citizens sought shelter from incoming projectiles. The successful strikes by Iran demonstrated a significant capability to reach Israeli territory, challenging the long-held sense of security provided by Israel's advanced anti-missile systems. The loss of life on both sides underscores the destructive power unleashed during the 12 days of fighting. The conflict also saw the involvement of the United States, which launched targeted strikes against key Iranian nuclear facilities. These American bombing runs were aimed at three major sites: Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. The White House stated that the objective of these operations was to degrade Iran's ability to produce nuclear weapons. This direct American military intervention added another complex layer to the conflict, demonstrating Washington's commitment to preventing a nuclear-armed Iran. The strikes were a clear signal of the lengths the U.S. is willing to go to enforce its policy objectives in the region. In the immediate aftermath of the ceasefire announcement, both Israel and Iran were quick to declare that they had emerged victorious from the conflict. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed his nation, proclaiming a historic victory over Iran. He described the outcome as a triumph that will stand for generations and publicly extended his gratitude to President Trump for his unwavering support throughout the crisis. This narrative of success was designed to reassure the Israeli public and project an image of strength and deterrence, suggesting that the military objectives of the operation had been fully achieved. Similarly, in Tehran, the Iranian leadership presented the conflict as a major success for their nation. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian also announced a historic victory, praising the resilience of the Iranian people and the capabilities of the armed forces. Celebrations were reportedly held in the capital city, with citizens taking to the streets to show their support. For Iran, claiming victory was crucial for domestic morale and for its standing in the region. By withstanding Israeli and American attacks and retaliating with its own strikes, Tehran aimed to demonstrate that it could not be intimidated and would defend its sovereignty with force. A central point of contention revolves around the effectiveness of the U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear program. The White House, along with President Trump, has confidently asserted that the bombing raids obliterated or demolished Iran's nuclear capabilities. This official stance suggests a complete and total success, implying that the threat of an Iranian nuclear weapon has been neutralized for the foreseeable future. This narrative is important for the Trump administration, as it frames the military intervention as a decisive action that has made the world a safer place and fulfilled a key foreign policy promise. However, this triumphant assessment from the White House is being challenged by reports from within the U.S. intelligence community. A leaked assessment from the Defense Intelligence Agency, or DIA, presents a far more modest picture of the damage. The report suggests that the strikes were not a complete success and may have only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months, possibly 3 to 6. According to this assessment, Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium and many of its advanced centrifuges remain intact. The White House has firmly rejected these findings, creating a public disagreement between the political leadership and its intelligence agencies over the true outcome of the bombing campaign. While the ceasefire between Israel and Iran has brought a halt to that specific conflict, it has not brought peace to the wider region. In the Gaza Strip, the long-running war involving Israel and Hamas continues with unabated intensity. The truce with Iran has had no effect on Israeli military operations in Gaza, where fighting and airstrikes have persisted. This stark reality highlights the complex and multi-layered nature of the conflicts in the Middle East, where a resolution in one area does not necessarily translate into calm in another. The people of Gaza continue to endure daily violence and suffering. The humanitarian situation in Gaza remains catastrophic, with casualty figures rising daily. Since the ceasefire with Iran was announced, the violence has not paused. In just the hours since midnight on June 25th, Gaza's health officials have reported that at least 31 more Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks. This recent death toll includes a particularly tragic incident where 10 people were killed while they were lining up to receive humanitarian aid. These ongoing fatalities add to an already staggering number of casualties since the war began following the Hamas-led attacks on October 7, 2023. The overall toll of the war in Gaza is immense. According to the territory's health ministry, the total number of Palestinians killed has now surpassed 56,077, with an additional 131,848 people wounded. These figures represent a devastating loss of life and a profound humanitarian crisis that has unfolded over many months. For Israel, the conflict has also been costly. The initial attacks on October 7th resulted in the deaths of approximately 1,139 people. Furthermore, the Israeli military has confirmed that 879 of its soldiers have been killed in Gaza since the ground invasion began, including 7 who were recently killed in Khan Yunis. Looking ahead, the future remains deeply uncertain for everyone involved. While the Israel-Iran ceasefire is a significant development, The continued war in Gaza serves as a painful reminder that a comprehensive and lasting peace is still far from reach. Diplomatic efforts are reportedly underway to broker a separate truce between Israel and Hamas, with Qatar again playing a key role as a mediator. However, the path to such an agreement is fraught with challenges. Until a broader resolution is found, the cycle of violence threatens to continue, leaving civilians on all sides to bear the heaviest cost of these unresolved conflicts.